craft room. My name is Whitney Lucas with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and today we're going to do two arrangements that have to deal with lids. There are a lot of containers out there that have really great lids on them, and sometimes you just want to include that in the arrangement. So I have two examples here that I'm going to show you guys how I incorporated the lids so that we can keep them as part of the containers. Now, of course, they're going to be a little bit out of the box. They're not necessarily going to be meant to be used for floral arrangements, but that's part of my magic. I like to use things that not everybody thinks should be used in the craft world or in, you know, home decor, but that's part of the appeal, and it's becoming more and more popular. So let's get down to the craft table and I'll show you all of our supplies and we'll get started. Alrighty, so what we have here is a wonderful pile of supplies that we're going to make something beautiful out of. I got my two containers here. This one's actually a kettle, like a hot pot kettle that you would put. These were both in the kitchen area. So these particular items were both purchased at Walmart a few months ago. If you're part of my Patreon group, my patrons saw the post when I purchased them, so they had the advance notice that they'd be able to go grab them if they wanted to. But this was a few months ago that they were both purchased at Walmart in the kitchen area. This is a kettle meant, I'm assuming, for heating up water on the stove. And this one, the lid does not come off. It's actually, it's attached on there with a little hinge on it. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to incorporate that into the arrangement. And then this guy right here is a kitchen canister. It's actually a medium canister. It's Better Homes and Gardens, if you see here. Medium canister. I loved the copper here on the end of it. And then also I loved the fact that this lid had a copper handle in it. And the real tricky part is getting this lid to stay or be attached or arranged somehow within this particular canister. So stay tuned. I'm going to do this one second. You guys will see how I basically tried to get things all in one area, and I'll show you guys exactly how I got the lid kind of creatively attached in order to get it to be part of the arrangement. You can already see that both of them have been filled with spray foam. You guys can see that from up above. These are really weird sized projects, kind of oddly shaped. So in this instance, I'm very glad I came across the suggestion of spray foam a little while ago. So these two pieces were definitely spray foamed probably about a week ago, just to give them extra curing time. So that's where you're seeing that from there. And then basically the flowers I have here are just more of what I had in my stash. I'll tell you guys where I got them. This particular bundle here on this side will be for the black and white speckled kettle. These right here are two bundles of just some different white stuff. These are from Hobby Lobby here, this little papery type deal, which will be really cute, kind of spraying out. And then these white flowers also were a bundle. They are Hobby Lobby. Of course, every time I buy Hobby Lobby, you guys know I wait until their stems and florals are 50% off. So they're moderately priced, not crazy bad. But I've also used both of these in a previous project. So this is another stash buster where if you have enough supplies in your craft room, you'll definitely be able to find stuff to whip something up and it will be amazing. So these are definitely leftovers. This is the only thing I went out and purchased new for this project. And this is from Ashland. It was a spring stem, and I got it, I think, 60% off. I can't remember. You know, Michael's always does these good crazy deals where they give you extra, and at the time I had another coupon on my my cell phone, so I got another 20% off my purchase that day. So I just wanted to put a pop of color in this little black and white arrangement. So I bought one, I'm just going to put one yellow flower right in the middle of that. You guys are going to see how great it is. And then here's my ribbon choice for this particular side, I'm sorry, this particular canister. I'm going, both of these are craftoutlet.com. This one is still available, I'm pretty sure, but this one might not be. I purchased this so long ago, I don't know if this is available anymore. It's just a much thinner ribbon, and it's 5/8 inch, but it's also 25 yards long, and I have this in many colors. And then for this arrangement, you'll see I'm going to use a green one. But this is just a black and white canvas striped ribbon that is 1.5 inch wide, and it's a 10-yard roll, but this is really good quality ribbon from Craft Outlet. I love this stuff. So I'm going to stick with a black and white and a yellow theme, but I'm also going to stick with stripes on both of these. Since we've got some flowers and then we've got some dots and speckles, I thought stripes would look great. So that's this particular arrangement on this side. And then for this guy right here with the copper, I wanted to keep it really warm and summery. It's the perfect season we're in right now. So all of these I actually already had. I did buy most of them this year. Oh no, this one is Joann's, so that was last year. But most of these Michael's ones were from this year. This is a leftover Michael's hydrangea I had from spring. So this is a yellow. I thought yellow, oranges, and peaches would be great to keep it warm. So it's a leftover hydrangea I'm going to incorporate in there. And then also, let's take a peek here. I don't have a tag on this one. Oh yes, I do. Here we go. Let me peek at it. Okay, this looks like these two here are from Joann's, and then all of these are Michael's. Yeah, there's another little spring bush. It's a kind of almost like a poppy look, but it's a really pretty corally salmon, pinkish, orangey. I don't know what color that is. It just looks good with all this peach and orange and yellow. So that one's going in there. I've got some leftover rosebuds from various projects, and these were all from Michael's. So I got some yellow rosebuds, and then a set of peachy, orangey peach ones. Those are Michael's as well. And Michael's hydrangea. And then these two guys here are from last year from Joann's. I purchased them to make a rainbow wreath, which you guys can actually still see is for sale in my Etsy shop. Go take a peek if you're interested. But these guys were also on sale at Joann's. And I'm sure Joann's has some great stuff out right now if you're watching this video while I recorded it. Basically, this is recording during Memorial Weekend. So this is about May. But you'll be able to find anything you can. I'm just particularly staying with this springy bright theme because I think the colors will look good with the copper accents on this container. And then here is my choice for the ribbon on these guys. So here I'm still going with stripes. I've got the lime green version of the 5/8 inch 25-yard roll from Craft Outlet, and then here I have a yellow and white striped. It's like a thicker. It's the thicker stripes on there from Craft Outlet. This is also a really good quality canvas ribbon. This is 1.5 inch wide by 10 yard. Craft Outlet, I just actually received this one recently, so I know this is on their website. I got a green one as well. But the yellow is perfect for this time of year, and I knew I was going to be doing some more springy and summery type arrangements. So what I'll do is I'm going to clear things out, and then we're going to get started on this guy first, and then we'll do the copper lid second. Alright guys, as you can see, I took all my stickers off, I got everything ready to go, and then as I mentioned earlier, you can see that I've already spray foamed this previously, and that had more than ample enough time to cure. And so we're just going to get started on putting flowers in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the lid completely open while we're arranging our flowers. And then from time to time I'm going to show you how we will make sure we have our arrangement in a way that we want the lid to, the position we want the lid to stay in. So we have to make sure that we're putting flowers in specific areas, because the flowers actually are going to hold the lid, and then we're also going to work a little bit of magic here on this hinge. And then there'll be a little bit of a different theme slash idea that we're going to have to do for the bow. It has to do with this hinge right here. So what I'll do here is I'm just going to do like normal, and I'm going to take my tags off, and I'm going to get started placing flowers in there. I'm going to go with this first one here. This first one here is the biggest one of the piece, and definitely want it to be the accent. So I'm going to gauge here off the edge of the table how high I want this to go. And I'm going to kind of, I'm sitting here, I'm bending the bud forward, because obviously we don't want it to all stick just right straight up. So I'm bending the bud a little bit any given way. And I want to take a peek and see. Oh, the girls are awake. I know you guys can't see my dogs down here. So go lay down. Go lay down. Good girl, lay down. Okay, so I'm going to take off the edge of the table here, and I'm going to try to make a good guess as to how high I want this to go before I place this in the arrangement here. And I know I want it higher than this lid. I believe I want the lid to kind of, there we go. I think I'll cut it right about here. So just, with your eyes, take a good guess at where you want things to be, and then cut that off, and then save this, because we're going to use this piece or any other one that you might already have in your stash. I have many, and we're going to use this piece in our second project, and you'll see exactly what I mean by that. So here is the first flower going in. I'm just going to kind of guess that I want it somewhat centered, and then also think about how you want the arrangement to face. And now if you're selling this or you're giving it as a gift, it's going to be, to the recipient's interpretation as to what they want it to be. But it is, as the artist, you're going to want to say which way you're intending your arrangement to face. I want it to face you this way, so as I work on it, I'm having it face me this way. I do want it in the center, and I want the bud to face me as where I'm proposing the front of this arrangement is going to be. So then I'm just taking it, and I'm going to place it, and I'm going to push it all the way down into this foam. Get it all the way down in there. The whole thing is very full. Basically, I put the foam in a circular pattern and then worked it up about a quarter, almost halfway full. And remember, the foam expands, guys. So you're going to end up with a lot more in there than you need. So I had to really pay attention that I only filled it to about right here, and it expanded up to about here. So that's pretty much what I'm going for. The gist right here is having this guy right here in the center. I know I have him facing this way, so I'm going to pull him right out, and I'm going to put the glue on the end from my glue skillet. And of course, if you don't have one, get your glue gun out, put that glue on the end of this stem, and then push it right back down into where you had it. Okay, so now that guy has been placed in his permanent new home. So here are my accent pieces. Now these are obviously larger bushes, and they're also leftovers I've mentioned before from other projects, but remember, we're definitely not going to be using all of these. So the pieces I'm using, I'm pushing the leaves up to the top of the bud. We might not actually keep them that high up, but I'm pushing them up as far as they'll go, so that when I cut them off, the stems off here, you can see there, I pushed them all up towards the top of each stem. I'm going to cut these longer than I know I'm going to need them. I think I'm going to go with 4 of them for now. We might need 5 or 6. But what I was mentioning before is that we're obviously not going to use all of these flowers. This is a very small opening, and the arrangement is going to come out and be full, but we don't want it to look like it's stuffed in there and that it's just, you know, exploding out in the wrong, in the wrong way. We don't want that happening. And then these little accents are going to be great once we place those in there too. But we also still, remember, need to be conscious of our lid. We want our lid to close just enough on the project so that it won't, and we don't want it to move around too much either. So I'm going to use some hot glue and some little pieces of wood to kind of get that guy down where I want him to be. So here is where I'm going to start. I'm going to move these stems. I put the leaves all the way to the top of the blooms. I'm going to kind of push them down just a little bit from where they were, because we're going to actually need these leaves on here to work double duty for us and fill in some of the holes or where we want greenery to be, because I didn't grab any greenery for these projects. I felt that we didn't need it. We're just going to be able to place these flowers in and get basically what we want done and out of the way without having to, use too many supplies, which helps on a lot of different levels. So I'm just placing these guys in. I'm going to twist these leaves around just a little bit more. I'm going to try to close this here. So I'm not going to put one, I'll put one right about right here. What I'm doing is I took the lid and I closed it here. So I'm trying to pay attention to where this lid is going to land and see if I have a bloom there. It's obviously going to go down lower, that it's not going to interfere with where I want that lid to eventually stay or remain. So that works out really well. I'm going to glue those 2 in before I get any further, because then things are going to get a little crowded in there, and I don't want to lose my guiding holes that I've already made with these little, preliminary placements. That's what I call them. So you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself by placing everything in. Since we have such a small opening in here, it's kind of a little difficult to maneuver things around, especially when you get a lot of glue on the end of the stem. You know for sure you're definitely going to be gluing everything else together, and then it's really easy to lose sight of where you wanted those pieces to go. So my other 2 pieces, I'm going to do the exact same thing, just on the other side. So again, I got to close this lid, and I think I'm going to place this guy right here, but I'm going to cut this shorter, because from my angle on this side I can see I don't need it to be this long, and also it's bending a little bit. So let's do like this and see how this goes this way. Perfect. Seems like these stems aren't strong enough, so I'm not going to use a steel pick, because the stem itself is still too thin. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab one of my little helper pieces that I used. They're just like little wire pieces that came out of stems. Like, if you take all the plastic off of some of these, maybe not this one might be a little bit difficult, but there's other stems you guys have probably been familiar with that if you take all the paper wrapping and stuff out, you'll have a nice little good wire in there that's pretty good thickness. I usually save those and use those as my helpers, or obviously this right here is helping me punch a guide hole in for this flower. I also use them to help me, you know, push in things when the hot glue is like super, super hot. Perfect. So that one's a little bit low. Let's push this one here. See how this works on this side. Yeah, that's working out really well. Okay, what I can see is happening here is that these flowers, these 4 flowers, are really going to fill in. So what I need to do is, instead of placing these 2 in right now, I need to start putting in my little accent pieces here, or I'm really not going to have any room to put them in anywhere. Excuse me, guys. My nose is running. It's allergy season here. I'm sure it is for everybody, actually, because I've got friends all over the states, and they're having the same issues. So I'm going to just pull a couple bundles off of this bigger bundle here. And I'm going to try to pull these apart as best I can and just use them as an accent. You don't want to put something this large. Do you see how big this is? Well, hold on. Before I speak too soon, because I'm actually really liking what I see here. Let's see if this is just ridiculous. Because if it's too ridiculous, then I might just leave it. I like things that might be just a little bit too ridiculous. And then again, this is too, the wire's too weak for this type of foam here. So I'm going to use a bigger stick on this one. I'm going to put a guide hole right there. I mean, that's super cute coming out like that on this side. It needs to go down into the arrangement a little bit deeper. So I have to find, I'm probably going to have to put a steel pick on it, guys, in order to strengthen it. If you don't have a steel pick machine, then go about it the old-fashioned way and use floral tape or a floral pick, the wooden sticks that have the copper wire on them. So what I'm going to do is cut this a little bit shorter, give it a solid straight end to it, and I'll show you. I have my steel pick machine here off to the side, and I can't really move it too close to the camera, so I'm going to push this in here, and I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like after we put a steel pick on it. That's a steel pick. That's what that looks like there. So let me place this guy right back down in here. It gives you extra hold, extra bite, really gives you, yeah, and you know what, I spoke too soon when I said, oh, it's going to look ridiculous, because obviously I love ridiculous. Apparently, I absolutely love ridiculous. So I'm really digging. If you guys here, I'll push up a little bit. If you guys can see this, I love the way these things are just spraying out. So that's going to be the main piece there, and I'm going to leave it that way. You'll get a better view of it when I show you at the end. But yeah, this is in its new home, and it's definitely going to stay there. So let me put some glue on the end of this, and then put it right back into its new home. That is absolutely perfect there. I'm so happy with that. It's so cute. Okay. All right, guys, the excitement is starting. It's making me smile, and that is the entire purpose of this. So since I knew, you could also tell when things start to get a little bit too crowded, you can't get your hands in there. You can kind of see we have so much room. That's why I held off on putting these other 2 flowers in, because we will run out of space. And remember, I don't want to focus too much on filling in here where the hinge is on this side, because we want this lid to somewhat close and remain part of the arrangement. So this is this side of the arrangement. We're going to put the bow out on the outside. So remember, don't fill in too much or your lid won't close. Just always keep checking your lid and make sure that that's basically where your placement needs to be. Every container is different. These are just 2 examples that I found that I'm going to absolutely love. I've never done this, you guys. This was just my idea. So we will figure it out together, and we will get it all done. So I'm going to place another one of these. I need to have like one piece coming out this way and another piece coming out another way. So I'm trying to see here how I can get things. All right, what I need to do is I'm going to try to cut this apart into many pieces. We'll see how this goes. So I'm going to try cutting it right here to make it into make it into 2 stems, and then see if it's long enough. If it's not long enough, I'm going to have to add it to another stem to give it length, so that we can have room in there. So if you see, that's where I cut it off at. So now this becomes its own pick, And now this guy becomes his own little pick here. And this is definitely too short for this project because I can't, my spray foam is about right down here, okay? And I need this to come up to be about right here. So I'm about that much short. So what I am gonna do is I am gonna use one of those wooden floral picks. Everybody sees them a lot. Now they come with this copper wire on them, and I don't think that that works enough. I think it's not really sturdy. It's not, I'm not a fan of it. So what I do on top of wrapping that copper wire around it is I take floral tape and I wrap tape around it. I wrap floral tape around it to just secure it down a little bit better. I had green tape over here. Where did it go? Oh, there you go. It ran from me. Okay, so I'm going to wrap some floral tape around it just a little bit. And we'll get it attached onto this piece, and we're going to make it into a longer pick. And you'll see, this is how you have to do certain things for certain projects. This might not ever really come up in wreath design. As you guys know, wreaths don't have, you know, too much of a depth or anything. I mean, you might need to extend it to kind of place this piece further into a grapevine. So I guess, yeah, it could come up in wreath design. Spoke too soon. So basically, you have to take floral wire, if you're not familiar with it, because I only learned this about a year ago. You have to kind of put a little bit of pressure and you have to tug on it just a little bit to activate like the sticky part of it, and then it will stick to itself, and I wrap it just probably too many times. And that's basically how I turned it into its own new pick, and I made it longer so we have more room to place it into our arrangement where we want it to be. So as you can see now here, the stick comes down this far. So that's going to be perfect for what I want. This guy will probably be long enough. More than likely it'll be more than long enough for the other side, and I'll just have to put a steel pick on it. That won't be too out of the way or too long for what I'm thinking I want it for. I want it right here out the front. Let's see. No, that worked out really good. I think that's cute. I needed to go down a little bit deeper, so again, I'm going to have to push a guide hole because when I pushed it in, it bent right here because this is a more malleable, kind of a weaker type of wire that's in here. So I'm going to put a steel pick on it real quick over here and see if that will be strong enough to push it in as far as I want it to go. No, it's not. It's still bending where I'm pushing it, so I'm going to get my little helper tool. There we go. I won. Sometimes you just need to have the proper leverage and the proper thickness and height, and then you'll get exactly where you want it to be. There you go. See this, guys? This is what keeps happening, and it's changing the way the flowers look when they're supposed to be kind of, you know, cascading out. So this is where a lot of this frustration with some of these cheaper wires these places are using. You know, it's not a thick-stemmed item, but I mean, I made a guide hole. I pushed it in there, but maybe my hole's not big enough. But if you make the hole too big, then it's going to fall out. So let's see what I need to do here to get this guy to agree with me. Like 3 or 4 more times. Let's see if I made that too big now. If I did, we have to compensate with more glue, and then I just have to hold it. Twist it a little bit. Have that come out that way. These two this way. Alright, there we go. I seem to have won this round. Yeah, okay, I won, okay? So now I got to get it right back in here after I glue it. So let's see if we can work that magic twice. Now, it feels like it's really down in there, so I don't know if that glue is going to put just a little bit on the end since it seems to have a good bite in here. Just place that right back down in there. Yes, okay, that worked right. That worked right out. And then what I think I might do here, guys, is because I wanted this to have more height than length, is I'm going to cut some of these pieces off here so they're not so long. So I'm going to come right up to the edge of this bud here on this paper piece, and then I'm going to cut right there. And I'm going to cut this one down here. And don't throw these away, guys, because we can use these in the bow. You guys know I like to put stuff in my bows. I'm just going to cut one off here. Come down to this one here. You guys will see the effect I'm going for. I don't necessarily want a lot of length, so I'll show you closer up. You're going to come down to the bud. Let's do 2 on this one. So I'm taking my pliers, I'm pushing them all the way down into that bud, and I'm cutting it off. And then the papery part here of the flower buds kind of hides, you know, anything that looked as though it wasn't going, you know, it does. You don't see the part where you cut it off at. There we go. Words were escaping me, guys. Words. I'm being creative. I can't talk at the same time. Who does that? Huh? Who does that? All right, there's my lid. Closing my lid a little bit more. There's the front of the piece. So I only wanted those little guys peeking out there. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Save all those little extras. We're going to put them in our arrangement. And now this guy, I want the height on this side. So remember, this side I want to put these coming out here because this is my facing forward of the arrangement. So I'm going to have to find a way to get this guy back behind here. I'm going to put it in at a diagonal so I can close my lid. Okay. Push this towards me. I'm putting it in at like a severe diagonal. So the buds are coming out on this side of the arrangement, but this stick is going in this way. So it's probably going to end up over here on this side, but the buds are coming out this side towards me. So whatever works in order for you to get the proper angle that you want on your flowers, stick with that, go with it. See, now I have to go on the other side of this stem because that's too far to the left. So let's go on this side. And the wood piece I added here is really going into going in much, much better, much easier. See, I like the placement of this, but when I close my lid, this piece gets kind of, you know, pushed off. So what I'm going to do is I gotta change movement, gotta change placement. So let's see if I can just put this more straight up and down right here. I think what I'm doing is I'm hitting the other stems I have in there. That also could be an issue too sometimes. And then the middle of this spray foam is kind of really thick. So there we go. That's what I was looking for mainly. Get it on this side of this flower. Push it closed a little bit. So once I get my lid in place, I'm going to pull these two down like this, kind of like that. I wanted more coming out this way, but I think I'm just going to leave it maybe this way and only cut one off. That's what I'll do. Where did my, here we go. Just going to cut one bud off right here. So it's not too long. I'm going to cut this guy off right about here. So I'm only going to cut 2 buds off of this side. So when we close our lid, those 2 guys are kind of coming out this way. This one I'm going to arrange more to come out towards the top. So that's another finishing touch that I'll have to try to remember to do. I'll probably see it when I'm actually trying to stage it for the pictures. That's always part of the deal. The picture taking, oh no, I have to move this leaf and I have to do this. No. So there I've got most of that stuff all set. So now I'm going to put my other 2 flowers in, my other 2 white flowers, and I'm going to see what we're working with and gauge from there what I actually, if I need to add anything more. I think pretty much I won't, but you never know, guys. You never know. That's absolutely gorgeous right there. So I'm going to place that guy in. Sometimes those flowers just go in right where they know they need to be, and it looks absolutely perfect, so I don't argue with it, and I just glue it right in where it was, and I don't mess with it. It just says, Whitney, this is where I belong. Now this guy I want to peek out the back, so I'm going to hold the lid and I'm going to try to get its placement right in here. Now there doesn't look like there's much room for it, which there really isn't, but it kind of is going to get smushed. That's going to be part of the deal. But remember, not every single little bud or leaf or flower or, you know, stem is going to show. Some of them you want them to be a little bit of accents behind the scenes. They're supposed to help you with, you know, the this and that of the deal. They're supposed to help you with all of that. So let's get this guy started right here. Yeah. See, the wooden sticks just went right straight in. So you'll see that there's different mediums that work better with this spray foam than others. I think what's happening is I'm hitting another stem, so I'm going to cut some of that off and see how far in I can get this guy to go. And then it also gauges and tells me how far I need to stick the stem in. If you've made the hole deeper than it needs to be, then that can always be a problem. And then you have to pull back and then fill in with glue. So some of this could be a little tricky. Some of it might not. This one I think I might put a little bit higher and pull some of the leaves forward. And after we get the lid glued in place, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So here is where I place the flower up higher and in front of the one that's already inside, the one that I said that was just absolutely perfect because of all the leaves that come out. I'm putting this one up higher, so then after we finish the lid, it's going to be on the back. This is like the sort of the back side. The centerpieces are good, pretty from all angles, but we're going to put our bow right here. So this is actually going to accent all of everything we're going to do. It's going to accent the lid, the bow, the back of the arrangement. I have my eye on the prize of where I have that poked in there, so one sec before I forget where it goes, because that has been known to happen. So right now it kind of looks like it's dangling out there in left field and it doesn't look right. That's part of the idea of what we want it to do. I'm going to push it down just a little bit more. I didn't go far enough in. These stems are just a little bit too weak for my taste. Well, I used them on a wreath. So it was a grapevine wreath and it worked out fine for the project I purchased it for. So since this is not its original project, I shouldn't really be too critical. So there's the arrangement, guys. All the flowers are in. So just remember, keep moving your lid if you have a hinged lid. If you don't have a hinged lid, I'll show you on the next little example. We're going to put the lid in first and we're going to work around the lid so we don't have to worry about having to keep closing it. But this is just my idea of what we would need to do to keep the lid kind of where we want it. You know, just my idea of how I would do this arrangement. And so far I'm loving every second of it. And again, this tea kettle or this water kettle, whatever this thing is just so dang cute. I love the little spout here on this side. You're still going to get good angles of this after the arrangement's done. You know, everything that's kind of popping out of the top. I love everything about how, you know, how kind of different that this is. You don't really see this stuff very often, okay? So what I'll do is I need to clear out some other stuff, and then I'm going to get you guys over and I'll show you how I'm going to secure the lid in place, and we'll do the bow. Alright guys, so we're going to do the hinge and the bow next. So we want to make sure that our lid doesn't kind of flop around too much. So what I want to plan and try to do is I want to try to kind of fill in the hinge. The hinge itself is just a little metal piece right back here, and this piece of the actual lid goes through this silver part. So what I'm going to do is this is an extra piece from a stem. A lot of bushes here you'll see, like this one for example, these extra pieces of wire are pretty thick. If you can find one that you have or off of the arrangement you purchased to use to make this, find a stem, clear it off. You get a nice little thick piece of, you know, that plastic covered wire. And I'm going to feed it into this silver part of the hinge right here. And I'm just going to cut it short enough to where it doesn't move too much. So I'm going to put some glue on the end of this, just a little bit of glue, not a lot. Just putting a little dab of glue on the end. Going to get it ready, and I already know that it fits through here because I tested it out before, and then I'm just going to really work it through there. And I got my glue in. Okay, so you can see here I've placed it in. It kind of peeks out a little bit on the other side. That's okay. I'm going to cut it right here with my wire cutters. Because we're going to attach the bow here, so this is going to hide anything that we might see. We're putting the bow on this back side. So you'll be able to see it sort of, kind of. It's going to be an accent off to the side here. The bow's going to be pretty grand. You guys know I can't do anything without doing like a major bow or something. Ends up being pretty big. Even when I try to make them small bows, I've had to redo them. So that's basically how I placed it in there. You guys can see how it's still sticking out on this side because that's as close as I could get my wire cutters. But here I've actually basically shoved and stuffed the hinge. I shoved the wire in there, stuffed the hinge with hot glue. You can glue it a little bit more with your glue gun if you want. We're going to place, let's put some glue on the inside here. A little glue on each side here. Now, I don't know if this is really going to stick too much, only because it is metal, and I don't know how hot glue and metal go together. So the lid is still moving a little bit. So what I plan to do, here, let me push this open. I can feel the tension on this thing here. I'm going to put glue on the inside like this. I can feel the tension a little bit from that wire I shoved in there, but it doesn't seem to be holding it too well. So after this glue cures, it may have a little bit more of a difficult time kind of twirling and moving around inside that hinge. So let's put that off to the side and let that glue cure a little bit over here while I get the bow ready. And I have my 2 ribbons I showed you guys earlier, and what I need to do is I need to grab a black pipe cleaner. So I don't want it to show. We're going to wrap it around the handle, so I don't want it to show too much. So my normal bows you guys have seen many times. If this is your first video you're seeing, welcome. I appreciate you being here. What I do is I always, for some reason, dovetail the end of the first ribbon I take. I don't know why I do that, because I end up having to dovetail everything else as well. So I'm going to make a guesstimation. I guess at how long I really want it. Do I want this to be a really long tail off this piece? Nah, not really. This is how long I'm making it. Just pick a length that makes you happy and go with it and pinch it. Then I make a loop. Again, it's just grabbing an amount of ribbon, making a loop the size you think is going to look good. Keep comparing it to your piece. Hold your loops up, see how big they are, see if they're, you know, turning out the way you want them, if they need to be bigger or smaller. Since this is a 1.5 inch width ribbon, you don't want to go with really big loops because the ribbon's not thick enough, in my opinion, to, you know, compensate for that unless you're going to use a lot of them. So after you make your loop, you twist it, because this is one-sided ribbon. See here, this is the front, that's the back. So I'm twisting it so that now as you're making the bow, it's facing you, the pretty side faces you. After you bring it forward and pinch it, you have the back showing. So you just twist that in your fingers, and that's how you make your second bow, and or your second loop. You have this original loop you just made to kind of to compare. You can see that they're decent sized. They're relatively the same. I don't like everything to be identical, so if you want it to be, aim for that. I prefer things to be just a little weird, just a little off. So I'm going to do 4 loops, and that's all I'm doing on this, guys, is a 4-loop bow. You know, most of my wreaths are the same way, but we use like a thicker ribbon. But so for this one, what I am going to do though is I'm going to cut the tail on this side just a little bit longer than I possibly need it. And I'm going to push all this and hold those pinches in between my thumb and the palm of my hand, what I like to call my thumb pit, medical term, just so you know. And what I'm going to do is make a second tail. So I'm going to cut this piece. And what a second tail is that I'm going to just take a long strip of ribbon and push it underneath here. Squeeze it in the middle like I just did here. And we're going to have more tails coming out of our piece off down to the side. So that might be a little bit too long on that side there. It's definitely longer than that one. So I'm going to go here and about right there on that. And that's really all it is. And I'll do that one more time. Basically, cut a strip of ribbon. I can tell you, again, I don't measure, but if you want a measurement, this is 18 inches long. So 18 inches long, figure out where you want it to be, pinch it in that center, and then just place it underneath the bow you just made in your hand. So now I have an extra, here's the original one we started with. We made the bow, and there's that one. And then here's our other 2 stems, our other 2 tails. Now, our cute little accent piece here. So now this is not wired ribbon. It's kind kind of just a regular, almost a grosgrain, I think that's how you say it. So we're going to need to keep our loops thin. And what I do with ribbon that's this thin is I just kind of cut it at a diagonal. I don't put dovetails on it. So I'm going to make just another maybe 4 little loops here. I'm going to do it the same way I did before. Pinch and bring the loops in, twist and pinch. It's the same premise, except for this is a lot thinner and it's not wired. So, but you still have to do the same steps. I'm only making the loops small enough so that it actually has enough, that way it has enough tension that it actually holds the loops up together for it. It's not going to be a problem. And then cut it again. We're going to do the same thing. Place it on top of this bow here, under your thumb, and then make a second tail. We'll make this one a little bit longer. We'll see if it has a natural curl to it. So all I did, again, just cut a strip of ribbon. I didn't measure, but if you want a measurement, I will give you. It is 25 inches long. I'm going to guess that that's the middle, and I'm going to press that right here into the center underneath the yellow part. I'm not putting it under the black and white. I'm only putting it under the yellow that I already made. And I'm going to take my pipe cleaner here and wrap it around everything I'm holding through the middle of my hand. Bring it to the back. And then that's where I kind of, you can let go at this point. And I pretty much get it situated to where I'm holding everything now with the pipe cleaner, and then I just twist. Twist and twist and twist until your heart's content. So here is not the finished product, because once we get it on our piece, we're going to, you know, fluff it and adjust it and move things around. And then also don't forget, I saved off to the side those little pieces that we cut off. We're going to add those into the center of this bow. I like to add florals and anything possible, honestly. Florals and greenery and leaves and berries and whatever your project you're using. I always try to incorporate that into my bow so it kind of looks like it's one piece, like it grew that way, or it kind of just makes it look like it was meant to be that way, in my opinion. So here I'm going to dovetail all the rest of my other tails on this ribbon, and we'll see. Once we get it on, if any of them are too long, you'll just cut them again. But for now, for the sake of saving the ribbon I cut off, I'm going to dovetail them all and see how long they are as they sit on the project. If they're too close to the table, if they're too, there's just not curling the right way, there's always an option of cutting them shorter, which is why it's always a little bit better to cut them a little bit longer. And it's also a reason why I get most of my ribbon at Craft Outlet, because it's so affordable. You know, you're looking at maybe 13 cents a foot on some of these. They're really good prices. So even if you add an extra 12 inches, you're really only going out, you know, you're getting rid of, you're going to maybe, I wouldn't say waste or throw away, because I would still end up keeping it. I have to actually untwist this a little bit. I made it too long underneath the twisted part so that it would stick too far up. So we're done with the ribbon. Now we're ready to attach. So let's see how much. See, this doesn't move very much anymore. You might see a little bit here, but all the glue has set. That we put a bunch of glue in there with that piece of wire we stuck under there. And I'm going to attach this bow just right here on the back of this piece, just like that. And I'm going to try to put my shortest tail here going up on the side, so it's not covering too much of the lid here. It's a cute little accent. Some of this might be hard to see just because it's, you know, the black doesn't show up that well. But you can always peek at my Instagram, Facebook. Basically mostly Instagram. I put everything I make here for YouTube on Instagram. You'll be able to take a better picture of it. And also at the end of the video here, I'll have all my still pictures that I put up, so you guys will be able to see it. So I'm kind of going in here and just wrapping it around as close as I can get it to that hinge. I'm wrapping it around with my pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to kind of use the pipe cleaner and thread it behind the hinge and pull it through on this side. And then I'm going to do the same thing here on this side. I'm going to take it, thread it through behind the hinge and pull it through, and then bring them back under and twist them together. So there's not much left over as far as extra pipe cleaner to go to cut off, so you kind of, it feels like there's really not much at all, but there's enough under there. I just got to get under there and twist a little bit. So this is where I'm going to hold it upside down here. and just twist. And then that's kind of hurting my fingers, so I'm going to get my pliers out and let my pliers finish the work for me. What we can actually do is put another tie of ribbon around here too. So you can't even really see under here too much, which is why we use the black pipe cleaner. But we can actually put another stream of yellowish ribbon under here and use that to tie it around to kind of hide some of it. I'm just trying to adjust that here. So like this one right here might be just a little bit too long. We'll cut this one off a little bit more. I'm really liking the rest of these though. I don't really want to cut the black and white striped ribbon. Might just put like a little... No, I'm going to have to cut that one tail. It is definitely too long. No, I'm going to curl it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to curl these, you guys. I like the way they look when they're curled. Super cute. Just a little bit of a little bow explosion on the back of that, and we're holding our lid in place, so you still have the lid peeking out here. It is part of your arrangement. I'm going to start by cutting off just about like that much, an inch. Is that too little? It's still not enough. I'm going to cut another inch off. I think I'm going to cut this one right here. Yeah, definitely. Definitely much better. And I actually think I could glue this in. Let me see if I can glue this in. The piece I just cut off here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably put glue on it. And I'm going to glue, yeah. The piece I just cut off that was too long, I'm going to put glue on it right here. I'm going to nestle it right in here behind all of these, right in here. That's where I'm going to put it. Is right in here underneath the ribbon pieces. So just literally dip the end of your ribbon in your glue skillet or put some glue on it with your glue gun. I'll show you guys real quick, see if I can get it to end. You just put enough glue on it right here, and then you got to get it right in there while it's still real wet. Just nestle it right down in between those bows, the two loops of the bow. And I'm going to use my little helper here and push that in. I'll show you guys in 1 second. So now from this angle I have this extra little piece here, and that's exactly what we were going for. That's great. So there's never really a, well, sometimes there is. Sometimes there's a fear of wasting, but don't really focus on that too much. You can always repurpose more than half of your supplies into your project again and again. So here, I like what I've done. I don't think I was going to wrap another piece around the handle here, but I don't think it needs it. I think I like the way the yellow pops out like a little surprise on the sides. So all I'm doing now is I'm going to take these pieces that we cut off, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with that ribbon clipping, and I'm going to cut them a little bit shorter than this piece here so that I'm putting glue on more of the end here, this paper piece, and we're going to nestle that right down into the center of the bow. It also helps with covering up some of the gaps in the bows and the loops and the, any holes. But it also fills in the middle pieces too that you might think need just a little bit more help. And if you see here, that little guy kind of just stuck perfectly right in there. I'm going to place a couple right here. You see there's kind of like a little empty hole here, and since this is not wired ribbon, we can fill it in nicely with these little extra clippings that we pulled off. So let me show you real quick. So here's the empty spot here. I'm going to place it kind of poking downward, kind of going along with the flow of the ribbon tails. And then I'm going to put another one right on top of it, which is really just one bud that I cut off. So this one's nestling right down in there. It's going to go right up against everything, and all you'll see is the little white flower bud. And then let me get all these things off here. So here. There's where that hole was, so now we've got little pieces of the flowers popping out. And that's what I continue to do really with the rest of the project, is just fill in the bow here. And the piece itself, to me, does not have any other holes in the arrangement itself anywhere else in here I was looking. I didn't see anything else that absolutely felt like I needed to add more flowers, or if I needed to add maybe a second bow somewhere. I don't really want to put too much ribbon in the project because of how small it's intended to be, and then how much space you actually have to work with in there. So I think that's really about it, guys. I don't know if I'm even going to add the rest of these little pieces in. Let me see if I can get, let's see, put that guy there. Let me see if I can put another one like right here. Yeah, I'll do that. There's one more piece. Just kind of put it in on a dry run. Don't put glue on it. See if it looks right. If it looks right, then what I like to say is I'm going to commit and I'm going to glue it in, and it's going to be its new home. And the worst case scenario, if you don't like it, you can always just use your wire cutters and cut them back out. You won't be able to pull them out too well just because of the the addition of hot glue, but you should be able to use wire cutters. If you're nestling the piece literally right down into the ribbon, you won't be able to get that flower out. So just, you know, make sure that's absolutely where you want it to be. That's your end goal, and go with it. I actually just found a place for every single one of those little extra clippings that we pulled off, and it's really cute. So 1 second, guys, and we're done with this particular piece. There we go. That's so cute. Okay, let me see if these bend a little bit. Now, they don't bend too much, but it's super cute. So that's what I did to the bow, guys. You can see here I put all these extra little clippings into the bow. Let me make sure they're all cut at diagonals. Yep, we're good to go on all that. And all my other ribbon is perfect. Okay, yep. So the handle is a little hidden, doesn't bother me too much, but here's the front of the piece. This is how I wanted it to show and how I wanted it to face you. So you get a little idea that there is a ribbon and a bow over here, so necessarily your centerpiece is pretty from all angles. I'm sorry, this is the angle I wanted you to see because that's the front of the bow, or the front of the largest flower bloom. So there's the front of your piece. You got your spigot over here. I think it's really cute, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. And then, of course, if you have any other tips or ideas, you guys go ahead and throw those in there and share them with everybody else. We'll all read them. We all like them and appreciate them. So let me show you this guy up here like this. That's what we have, guys. Look how cute that is. Is that even really... Really cute. Turned out really super cute. All right, guys, on to the next one. And then, of course, pictures of this and our next one will be at the end of the video. All right, guys, here is arrangement number 2. This is a medium canister for a kitchen, so you would probably put like sugar or flour or something in this. And I also got this in the kitchen area as well as the other kettle at Walmart a few months ago, or maybe a month and a half ago. And basically I really loved the copper stripe on here and then the copper accent on this lid. And this lid is a completely separate piece here. So what I'm going to show you guys is how I am going to rig this to fit into our piece. So this is an actual piece of a stem. So all those pieces that you cut off, like these hydrangea here, you have these long stems, save them. Maybe not all of them, but save enough of them. So this piece here is what I did was I bent it in enough of a fashion so it'll curve along with the edge of this. And I had to get a little creative with getting this attached in here. What I needed to do was this is E6000 glue, okay? So what I did was I basically turned this upside down, put the glue in it, and then realized that this is going to be a little bit too long, so as far as waiting for the glue to dry, because obviously if you've worked with E6000 glue before, you'll know it's really wet until it sets. It takes a certain amount of time to actually set. And I did this around the same time I did the spray foam in the containers and the other kettle. What you have to do is I used masking tape here, which I'll show you guys if you're not familiar with what it is. There's masking tape. I just used some painter's tape or whatever you've got, and I kind of secured it down on both sides here, and then I also wrapped it around this piece of the stem and taped it down here on this side, so when I put the lid inside of itself, it kind of held on to it. But I was still having some issues with the weight of the stem itself here, and the pressure was being put here on the edge. This piece was popping back up here, so I had to get a little creative, and then I have this broken coffee cup. I literally set that in there, so I kind of had it off to the side, The glue, if you can see here, the glue is not really all over the place in there, but it is in there. It's clear now, you can see that. So I had it sitting off to the side like this, and then I had this piece propped up against the wall. I just get creative however you got to do it. If you have a better idea, let me know. But this particular metal piece, I am not drilling holes in it. I'm not interested in going that far. That's too much work. I'm not going to get power tools out, but I want this piece to be in our arrangement. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in first so that when we get started on our flowers, we're working around this piece. And I definitely want to make sure that our cute little copper handle here is really a very good focal point of the arrangement. So what I'll do here is I'm going to take a peek and show you. Obviously I left the stem as long as it was because I know it's too long for the arrangement. Or you see here, this is how long this is here. That's sticking up too far. We want this piece to kind of sit almost, I want to say almost inside, or almost sort of kind of off to the side here like this. Might be more or less inside as a little bit taller for the piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a good, geez, how long is that? It's almost 3 inches. And we'll see how that goes. Actually, I'm not going to go 3 inches because I'm concerned that that might be too much. I'm going to go more 2 inches. I'll go 2 inches and see how this looks here. I'm just going to also try to pick like the highest point here for my in my foam. And then of course, since this is on a stem, sorry guys, it's going to take a minute to really push this down in there. This is also going to be another instance where I'm going to need to get my little helpers out that I used in the previous one and just start really pushing into the styrofoam down in there. That spray foam gets really compacted, it appears. There we go. Gets really compact as you push into it. Kind of like styrofoam doesn't really get too compact. I kind of hurt my wrist just now. I hit it on it now. It doesn't get too compact, but now I'm getting an issue where it won't go any further. Let's see if I can get my scissors in this. That's too big. Just trying to get in further than I had. If not, I will just cut my stem shorter because it appears like this is going to be a bit of a problem child. See, that's too tall in my opinion. That's just way too tall. Let me put a steel pick on the end of it and see if that works. I need something sharp to kind of cut through everything. I don't know if this is going to work. I mean, the steel pick really did bite into the plastic on there, so let's see if this works. And I want the lid to face kind of in a little bit. Yeah, steel pick worked a little bit better, but I got to cut it shorter because we can kind of bend this out too a little bit more. But I'm going to need to cut probably another so many inches off, like I thought I didn't need to, but yeah, I'm going to need to cut that a lot shorter than I originally wanted to. How long is this? So it looks like about 3 inches. Let's see how it goes. 1, 2, 3. And this is the kind of the scary part, because if I cut this too short, I can't re-E6000 it. You know what I mean? That worked out pretty good. Look at that. That worked out pretty good. Do you see how little space we have to work with, honestly? So that's kind of, could be kind of a scary part of it. But we can also still bend this piece here. We haven't glued it into anything. We can bend it out this way to get it to go outside of the lip of this piece here and kind of have it stick up a little bit more. I think I might do that. Just start a new hole. Get it to kind of stick out like that. Look at that. That's much cuter. You see how that is? So basically you'll see in there's a larger hole, and then the smaller hole is the second one I made after I bent the piece here. And yeah, that's the one I'm going to go with. So time to glue this girl in her new home permanently. And that's how we're putting this lid on. And now the rest of this is just flower placement. And yeah, the rest of it's flower placement for an arrangement. So here's part of the lid, and then that's how I got that guy attached. So the E6000 glue kind of, you know, mess around and rig it up so that you can get it kind of adjusted and taped down and weighted in whatever areas and however you need it to be so that you can get it in its home, and then let it dry and cure for however long it needs to cure. And that's how we did that lid. These lids might be easier than the other one. The other one is already attached, obviously. It's just, it takes a little bit more, just takes a little bit more time for it to cure. I'm sorry, this particular one takes more time to cure. The other kettle design one with the hinge on it, that one, save that. That one, you just have to keep, you know, making sure you're adjusting and putting things in the right places, and making sure that you're ever conscious of always placing that lid back over the arrangement to make sure you're going on the right direction and you're not like really stuffing it full and then it's not going to have room to close and look the way you want it to. So little hinged ones might be a little bit more work, but it's definitely worth it. They're both very, very cute. So here I'm putting my hydrangea in off to the side. It's going to be super poofy, and that is a-okay. That's kind of what I want. So I'm going to cut that a little bit shorter so it goes down in further. And then this is how you can get to, this is how you would end up using a lot less flowers. And I might not even be putting these roses in, you guys, because this guy's covering up a lot. I mean, this one's really filling in the one side so much. So there's that piece there. Do you see how cute that is? It's really cute. This side of the arrangement is just really super cute to me. And then we're going to put some height in here, so don't worry that, you know, it's all going to be just stuffed around here, which that wouldn't look bad either. If that's your kind of style, or if that's your what you want to work with, then go for it. Just really fill it in down in the sides. That's not going to be ever, you know, frowned upon, because it's super cute no matter what. So my hydrangea's in there just like that. And let's just cut off some flowers and just start placing them in there, seeing how things kind of work out. I'm going to leave these sort of long so that we can make sure we have more than enough length on them. And since these are almost the same type of stems that we used on the other one, we're probably going to have to use steel picks, because for some reason with this particular spray foam, it's having a little bit of a difficulty pushing in, because of these are fairly decent, you know, thickness of floral wire. But for some odd reason, it's having a little bit of trouble getting adjusted in there. And then let me grab one of these little odd poppies here. These guys are just different. I just like them. They're just weird. I like the centers of them. The centers of them have this plastic piece on them that are just a little kind of crazy, in my opinion, and I like it. See here, let me show you the centers of these. Look at the center of that. Isn't that cute? That little extra little piece there. I think that's a super cute little poppy. Pretty sure that's a poppy. I'm used to seeing the red poppies for donations, but I don't know. This peachy, pinkish, orangey peach, whatever, salmon-y. I don't know. It's beautiful. Whatever it is, it's beautiful, guys. And I like it. So I'm gonna get a little bit of height on this guy here. Place him down in first. Making more guide holes, just making sure I'm not gonna hurt my wrist again. That one hurt a little bit more than it probably should have. So there we go. Sometimes it looks like I've done a couple of arrangements with this spray foam, and I haven't really had too many issues. So let me just place a lot of these in and around here, guys, just to see what kind of issues I'm going to have, to see if I really want to fill in too much around the sides or underneath or on top. Just want to place a bunch of stuff all willy-nilly, see what it looks like. And I know I said I didn't want to do that on the last one. The last one has a lot less of an opening. If you guys saw how small that opening was on that one had a lot less of an opening. So this one I'm just going to kind of play around with placements. See if I like getting like just enough height on certain ones here. another peach one off, but I want this one to be super tall so it can stick out right here. This is what I was mentioning before, where you don't just commit to a spot right ahead, because this one I want to get a little bit of height on. And I don't want the flowers to look really crowded though, because like right now I'm feeling like it's a little crowded in some areas. So I'm just bending the stems down a little bit. You take them and you bend them and you bend them. And then that's how you're going to get some of the height and some of your roundness to kind of just work off a little bit. And the hydrangea by itself on the side was done on purpose. I like the way that looks. I like it to be just a little kind of crazy, just a little bit of different. That one definitely don't want that there. And never worry about putting two flowers next to each other. I think sometimes that actually looks better than you know, spreading everything out. You see a lot of times in, you know, landscaping and other types of arrangements and stuff, flowers grow together in bundles and in bushes, so why not put them in arrangements in the same way? So I'm going to put these two guys right here next to each other. And I plan on leaving it like that. I'm really liking this. Let me see. I don't even know if I need to put these in here if I'm going to have... Oh, yeah, I have to. These little rosebuds look really, really cute in here. I just need to see if I'm going to have to make them longer. So let's see how it goes. Let's just try this out. So again, remember I said this was all a stash buster, and even then I'm still going to have a decent amount of leftovers here, which is also a-okay acceptable in my book, because I can make another arrangement with these exact same flowers. This is a really good color palette, in my opinion. This is very summery and inviting, and I just really like the peach, purple, I'm sorry, purple, peachish orange, a little bit of pink. I mean, you could throw a little bit of red in here with these yellows. And then these little rosebuds here are like a perfect pale yellow. It was really cute. It was just like going shopping in my own craft room from previous projects. Can't ever really go wrong on that. If you picked it out for something else, then guarantee it's going to be good for another project. And here I accidentally pulled that off of the stem. So here's my little fix. Put a little bit of glue on the end. And then poke that guy right back onto the stem. And then go back to cutting pieces out. I really want to get some of these pale yellow ones in there. They're really cute. I don't know if I'm going to have room for ribbon, you guys. I mean, I know it's kind of odd to not put ribbon in something, but I don't want it to look stuffed. I'll see what I can do to get a bow in here, but these guys I'm really just kind of going to see about poking them around the sides. Oh, yes. Look how cute that is, just sticking out right there. Yeah. So before I get too far, I'm going to try to work this way. So I'm going to try to remember where I have all this stuff. And I got to pull these out in order to get to stuff here. So I'm going to glue these guys all down in the way I see them. So I know where I had this one. I know I had the yellow one right between it. And I'm just going to start gluing them in real quick, guys. Otherwise, I'm going to forget about them, and I don't want that to happen because they're super cute right where they are. I'll leave that one right there. I'm going to take this one out because that one got pushed in on the other side. Looks like I can't find this one, and no, there it goes. That's where it goes. Okay, let me get some more glue on it. That was part of the risk you take on that kind of stuff, is you might forget your flower placement, and that can go, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there. And the glue strings today, guys, are like super, just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what it is. I mean, it might be the weather, though. I also have a ceiling fan on in here, and this guy's coming apart. Yeah, they work with you the first time, and then they don't. So here the plastic is separating from the stem. I just cut the plastic off and keep moving along because I'm not going to replace the stem. The wire is still there, and that's the important part. I want that guy to stick out right there. Another yellow one, I think I put, oh yeah, I put it right there. Okay, so this guy did go over here. Is that where I had it? Yep, looks good to me. I'm pretty sure it's probably not the hole I had it in, because it sounds like I made myself a new one, but we'll see, whatever. It all works. So I'm just trying to make sure I have my placement right and get these guys glued in correctly and properly and all that jazz. There we go. That's where it was. Yep. It's my story. Good little mixture in there. So you still have our lid is part of the design slash centerpiece. It's, you know, all angles are looking good here. All angles are equal. Let me see if I can get this guy back here like this, because that looks really cute, I think. So let me see if I can get this put in here on this side. Let me lay it down on this side. This is where sometimes you get those weird angles. You got to get... Yeah, it's not going to go deep enough because I can't see in there. I really liked it there, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to work it in because of the placement. And this, I really think, honestly, in my opinion, you have to have the lid in first. Otherwise, the arrangement has to literally look like it's grown around the lid itself. It can't really be the other way around. Otherwise, your lid's not going to look proper. It won't be in the right area. It won't be the right placement. It just won't look right. So this one, a couple times, has just been too short. So I'm going to put glue on it, and I'm just going to go for it. Cut it a little bit short, and I'm going to go for it. There we go. Push that in just like that, and there we go. Now it's kind of behind. It's too far in. That's not what I wanted. Let me pull it back out before it sets. That's more what I wanted there. Let me push the hydrangea back. Now these are all bending, so you know you can always bend them back. Not to worry. I'm not putting too much pressure on the lid. It is held on with the 6000 glue. I don't think we have much to worry about, but there's always that possibility. So it's growing around it. I got a bigger poof on this side than the other. I really like the copper, and I like how the flowers are kind of just coming out all over the place. I actually might have them come down a little bit, and I'm thinking here I might end up bending them around like this. You can put a big bend in it down. This is what we're doing, and then bend the bud up this way. But I want to get it closer to the actual piece here. So I'm going to take my pliers and bend it up here. There we go. So that gets the bend closer to the flower, like so. You see that? You can see how I did that right there. And then I'm going to put this inside our piece here. So it kind of hooks around and hooks over. It hangs down a lot lower on this side. And we're going to get it to where it looks natural. We'll get it up against the piece. I want to see if I can get this to agree with what I want it to do, and then we can fill it in around the sides with some roses and stuff so it doesn't look completely unnatural around the side like that. I want to put some roses around it here. You know, you got to get the proper drape on a lot of things, and I don't know if I have the length on some of these flowers to get them down there like that. And I don't want to have to add stems to every single one of them. At that point, it just becomes too much work. It's just too much work. These aren't sticking in a lot, so I'm going to have to take that back out. It's not going to work out. Maybe another arrangement. So you guys might see that in the future. I can plan it out that way. This appears like this particular stem, the spray foam, and the how full it is. It's not full enough, that type of thing. I know what I need to do. We'll have to see that on another arrangement on another day. I really don't think I have room to put ribbon in here, you guys. I'm trying to see how this would work out. The flowers themselves are just pretty enough, making me very happy. We have a gap right here we need to fill. I'll put this guy right there. Let's see how I can get that in. There we go, that worked out really good. So I got a rose on each side now. There's our lid. I need to put another flower up here. I need a tall flower. Got peach and yellow already. I don't think that's going to be tall enough. No, that sure won't be tall enough. I've done a lot with yellow. Let's take this super long peach one right here and go with it. Put this right at the top and see. Yes, it's just pretty. This is really pretty. I'm gonna bend this down a little bit more. I'm just going to keep working these flowers in there, guys. You know, it's all about the different heights and the different lengths. So I'm going to need to keep working some things in to try to get them intermingled. I don't want just a stripe of peach here at the tops. after I sped all that up, you're going to have to bear with me. This particular arrangement is not going to have ribbon. I know this is kind of strange. It's my second one for the week, but I don't have room for ribbon. And with the placement, or how full this is with foam, I should have filled it higher. I'm not going to put ribbon in it. I really like the way it's turned out with the roses. I added the little rosebuds in there. I did have to use a lot of steel picks to get through that spray foam. So maybe I let it cure too long. I'm not sure if there's like a time frame or whatever, but it was a little bit more difficult to put these picks and stems inside this arrangement. And I don't believe that the lid was my issue. I believe it was actually the styrofoam, or the spray foam that's in there. Styrofoam would have been probably about the same anyways, just because it wouldn't have filled up the whole canister the way I wanted it to. So I still, if I had to do this again, I'd still use spray foam. But I really like the way this turned out. Do you see how the lid itself becomes part of the arrangement? And I particularly would like to put this on my table facing this way. So like this would be the front of the arrangement, in my opinion. As a creator, I would set this facing forward as my focal point. And then obviously you can see that around every angle that you look at this pretty little girl, she's just got all kinds of beautiful colors. And the peaches and the pinks, and then the little poppies popping through in different places. There's a poppy under here. I also like the cute little movement that the rosebuds give. I was going to leave them out, but they were just way too cute. This one I had to add a longer piece to with floral tape. You guys saw that, to make this one stick through the top because it just was not long enough. And I'm really glad that I did, because I love the extra little piece, little interest. You can see it's popping out here. You got some more here. I got a grouping of the peach ones here. I placed a couple of the peach guys coming out of this hydrangea here. And then I ended up removing the leaf that I left in there because it was getting in the way with me putting in other stems. So again, save this stuff because we use that in other projects to cover up any behind the scenes. But that's it for this particular guy here. So just remember, with the lid itself, I had to prop it up and use masking tape and get it down and weight it to get that stem piece glued to the back of this lid, which you could use epoxy, E6000. There's all brands of glue. Whatever glue is your favorite, use that. And it has to be a high performance glue, because I don't believe hot glue would actually hold this. So that's basically how I did this particular one. And I couldn't say no to how cute this little galvanized pot was with the copper on it. I absolutely love how the copper turned out. Alright guys, check it out. Here's our cute little arrangements we made with lids. So we have our cute little water tea kettle boiling pot thingy right here. Look how cute this girl turned out. Our little spigot. Here's the handle under here. We got our lid peeking through there. Stay tuned. We're just literally right after this little outro here, you're going to have some still shots of both of them, so you can see them in some really good lighting, see how everything turned out. This is just absolutely super cute. I'd love this anywhere in my house, not just my kitchen. I'd put this anywhere. It's so cute. And then also this, our last guy you guys just saw here with the little copper lid, and I personally think that the copper lid itself makes the arrangement, and is probably part of the reason why I didn't put ribbon in it. I love this, and I want this to be the focal point. I don't know why I love this, but for some reason this cute little copper handle and this copper stripe just sings to me. So those are our little guys here. Two different arrangements with lids, different ways to incorporate lids into your arrangements. That way you don't have to get rid of them, and then you also don't have to limit yourself on your containers or your vases that you pick. Just think there's going to be a way you can attach it somehow. Just think outside the box and you'll get it done. This guy is just absolutely cute. I can't help but keep staring at her. She's so cute. And then again, me and my copper obsession. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Post your tips, tricks, ideas, whatever. And then also my patrons, thank you so much for continuing to support me. You guys are making these videos continue to be possible for everyone else as well as yourselves. I got some exciting things going on. If you guys or anyone else enjoyed what you did today, consider supporting me on Patreon. There's a link in the description of this video, as well as the About section on my Facebook and my YouTube channel, where you can take a peek at Patreon, see the different reward levels, and see if there's anything there that fits you, or if you'd like to just, you know, throw a little donation my way so we can continue to get these great supplies and get these projects, and then show you guys more of how to do what we like to do. So just, again, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys all so much for your support, my subscribers, my patrons, my Facebook fans, Instagram followers. All of you make me so happy, and I want to continue to give you what you need. So until next time, you guys take care, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.